Espooky. Hello friends and welcome back to Espooky. We have a couple of alien and UFO videos to investigate, so let's just dive right in. Espooky. Tonight's first video comes from OVNIs y Misterios from X. We start tonight's video with a flying orb in the sky over a city in Latin America. It is believed that what we are seeing here might be a UFO, but if we think logically, could this actually be just a human drone? It's very curious. My question, if it is a human drone, what is it looking for? And why also the red light? It's very fascinating. I'm starting to think that maybe what it is that we're seeing here could possibly be a UFO. But then again, the question is, what is this UFO looking for? What is it doing? Very interesting, no? The following video comes from Conspiración ESP from X. This video is fascinating. We see a flying object in the sky. It is clearly very high up in the sky because the person needs to zoom in with his camera in order to be able to see it in any sort of detail. We see the object here with the footage being stabilized. You can see that it is spinning in circles and also going up and down in the sky. It is very interesting. What could this thing actually be doing? Could it be gathering information? Here we see it again in closer detail. Fascinating. If it is a human drone, my question would be, why this shape? Most things, when humans build them, they need to have aerodynamic capability, so it needs to be able to function in order to fly. This is not aerodynamic in the way that humans would construct things. So that's what makes me think, what exactly could this be? We see a close-up here of the footage. It is interesting because you can see that there appears to be an occupant. Fascinating and also terrifying. What would be flying up there in such altitudes? It couldn't be human. I mean, it could, but just again, the build of the aircraft is just not something that humans would build. And here we see the so-called occupant. How fascinating. Is this an alien, or is there a more terrestrial explanation? The following video comes from El Alienista Doc from X. When I see footage of flying objects flying next to an airplane, it's always very intriguing to me and also extremely frightening, simply because at this point, what exactly would you be able to do? There'd be next to nothing that you can do. You can just observe this thing. Here we see the footage zoomed in and slowed down a fraction so we can see the object a little bit more clearly. It looks like your traditional flying saucer. How interesting. Again, what could this thing be doing up in the clouds? Is it gathering information? Is it harvesting some sort of resource that we're not aware of? And why does it feel the need to fly so close to this airplane? All these questions you have to consider. If it is a human craft, then the question would be, where is it coming from? Is this an experimental type of airplane? And who is experimenting? The following video comes from Unexplained Video from X. In this footage here, we see what appears to be some sort of alien abduction. It is very fascinating because you see the person got taken in a beam of light and then returned. How interesting. But could this be real? As we can see here, the person definitely appears to be disoriented. Here we see it in a close-up and then slow down. You can see that he was taken in a beam of light and that the other person doesn't know what to make of it. Then he is returned. It is very interesting, and in the slow motion, it looks a little bit jumpy, or like there were edits and cuts. Let's explore this footage a little bit further. As we can see here, in slow motion, you can see light and he is taken. The person runs away in fear. And then he is returned. I don't think that this is real. It is interesting, but I don't think this is real. I can do this on the computer with my editing software. That's what makes me think that no, probably not real. The following video comes from Unexplained Mysteries from X. Something appears to be attracting the electricity in this footage here. In the center, we see what appears to be a humanoid or something, and the lightning is striking it. I've often stated to myself and to people that I know that if advanced beings were coming across space and time to this planet for resources, they would have to power their vehicles in some sort of manner. And what is more powerful on Earth than a lightning strike? You can gather so much energy just by absorbing the electricity. Humans can do it. So what makes you think that advanced beings would not be able to do it better than us? So is that what we're seeing here? Is this thing gathering energy? I'll let you decide. Real or not, the footage is definitely interesting. The following video comes from Llaves al Misterio from X. In the last few years, a lot of these videos have surfaced on the internet where we see circles in the sky, but they appear to be like snakes that are eating themselves, what they call Ouroboros. It's very interesting. A lot of people are saying that, one, these things are not natural, and that these things are probably extraterrestrial, and that so-called extraterrestrials are using these things as gateways through space and time. It is interesting to think that maybe what we're looking at is a wormhole. But could there be a more terrestrial explanation for this? And if so, do you have one? Because I do not know. The following video comes from Demon King 2505 from X. Like I stated before, here is another video of these strange rings in the sky. Fascinating. But is this real? Is what we're seeing here an actual interdimensional gateway to another region of space, which aliens are using. In this case here, the one thing that I do not like about this video is that, well, the circle kind of looks exactly like all the other ones, so it might be digital, and also the reaction from the people. But that also could be just because how young people talk nowadays, and I'm getting old and it all sounds fake to me. So I'll let you decide for yourself. The following video comes from I Hunt UFOs from X. This footage here is fascinating. Capturing UFO footage from the ground is one thing. Capturing it on an airplane is another. But when pilots and flight crew are the ones capturing the footage, to me, it puts the footage on a different level. Simply because these are professionals, and if they cannot identify what it is that we're looking at, then it's probably a UFO, at least a real one. In this instance here, the object appears to be a sphere, and it is flying real close to that airplane. Could this be a human drone? Or is this extraterrestrial? I think it might be a UFO.
Well, friends, we reached the halfway point of another video. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and to leave a like to the video.
The following video comes from alien UFO sightings from X. Allegedly, this is leaked footage that was leaked around 2017 of an encounter with an alien and a human being. As we can see here, the alien appears to be, well, real. It is very interesting, and it looks like what those aliens called the Greys would look like. We don't see the alien opening its mouth, and in the following footage we'll see it interact with a human being, and even so, it never once opens its mouth, or we can hear it talking at all. So it is implied that the way that it is communicating with the other person is through some sort of telepathy, which in a way would make sense, because look at the size of this creature's heads. You would think that with a massive brain, they would be able to communicate in other non-verbal ways, such as telepathy or through some sort of body movements or something other than the way that we can communicate. The eyes look very interesting to me. Here it is interacting with the man that I was stating before. They appear to be having a conversation, and nothing malicious, or there doesn't appear to be any threats or anything like that, and the man even extends his hand to shake the alien's hands, which is very interesting. Also, I want to draw attention to the fact that when we do see the man extend his hand to the alien, there are immediate cuts to the footage, which to me, right here, you see, it's a little bit suspect. Fortunately, I was able to find other footage where it actually shows the man actually giving his hand, and you can see here in the close-up that they are not shaking hands. So this is probably fake, And the simple fact that the alien in the costume couldn't grip the other man's hand, well, I think this is debunked. The following video comes from Rainmaker 1973 from X. People are saying that what's happening here is an alien spacecraft breaking into the atmosphere. But if we think logically, what is happening here is a meteor entering the atmosphere and causing a light show. It's fascinating, but that's all that it is. The following comes from Guardian4525 from Reddit. In this video here, we see people celebrating a party, somewhere in Turkey from what I understand. Also, this is a different point of view from the previous video that we saw. It is from the same region, it's just showing a different perspective and a different point of view. And we can see here, at the same point, where the meteor appears to enter the atmosphere, causing the same type of light. It is very fascinating, but definitely not a UFO, just a meteor breaking through the atmosphere. Nature is truly wondrous. The following video comes from OVNI Chile 1 from X. In all honesty, I don't know how I would react if I'm on a plane and I happen to be looking out a window and I see something like this. At this point, there is nothing that you can do. All you can do is just observe and hope that whatever that thing is doesn't decide that it's curious and wants to come and investigate you. A scary thought for sure. But what could that actually be? If we think logically, could that be drones? Possibly, but why would drones be flying in a formation like this unless they're looking for something or hunting something? And also, the fact that it is very high up in the sky, I know that a lot of drones have issues with high altitudes like that. Unless it's military. So, this is probably a UFO. The following video comes from Unexplained Video from X. More footage of red lights in the sky. How interesting. In this case here, we see a red light that appears to be falling. Could this be real? Or is there a more logical explanation? Well, as we can see there, the light disappeared. It appeared to be, it flickered away. What I think that what we're actually looking at here is a flare gun. So someone shot a flare into the sky, and this is what happens eventually to the flares. They dissipate and disappear, and that's why you shoot another one in order to be found. What exactly the context is here and why this is happening, I am not sure, but I do not believe that what we're seeing is extraterrestrial at all. It is more than likely a flare gun. My apologies, not a flare gun, but a flare from a flare gun, just to be clear. The following video comes from Conspiración ESP from X. This footage here comes from my hometown of Toronto in Canada. People are saying that what we're seeing here is some sort of extraterrestrial phenomenon. But let's think logically. As cool as this is, what we are seeing is just a cloud formation that is reflecting the sunlight in a strange fashion. Nothing more. Interesting, but definitely not extraterrestrial. The following video comes from Paranormal Bloke from X. My friend sent over this footage for me to analyze. In his opinion, what we are seeing here is definitely not extraterrestrial activity, although people online seem to think that what we are witnessing is some sort of galactic battle happening in the atmosphere. I believe, and so does my friend, that there is a more terrestrial explanation for what we are seeing here. As we can see in this close-up here, you can see what appears to be lights in the sky, and then something like a battle ensues. I mean, it looks very interesting, but it definitely isn't what it appears, simply because there's also no sound. If there was an intergalactic battle happening, wouldn't there be sounds? There's nothing like that here. Now, I know that a lot of you smarty pants would argue, well, there's no sounds in space because it's a vacuum. Yes, that's true, but there would also be vibrations, and we'd be able to feel it on Earth. What I think, and what my friend thinks as well, is that what we're seeing here is the reflection of the passing cars on this person's windows. It just makes it look like it's very interesting like that. But I think that that's what the logical explanation is here, and that what we are seeing is not intergalactic, but just cars.
Las Vegas.
The following video comes from Cosmic Mystery X from X. Here we see a UFO that dives into the ocean. It was being chased, allegedly, by two aircrafts, by two airplanes, and then out of nowhere, a helicopter approaches, which is very fascinating. So what could be happening here? Is this footage real? Did these people capture some sort of military exercise where they were hunting UFOs? The footage originally comes from somewhere in Spain. Here we see the two aircraft, and here is the UFO again. It is very interesting, and of course, there would be so much space under the ocean for these things to hide that it makes logical sense for them to go and hide in the ocean. Unfortunately, for this footage here, it was proven to be a hoax. Although the footage appears to be very interesting and very legitimate, the filmmakers came out and said that what they were doing was just experimenting and having fun. And this is the result of what happens when you have resources. If you have money to pay for digital effects and also to, rent a boat or to rent a helicopter to fly by said boat, this is what you can do when you have resources. It's very fascinating and it makes a very interesting video, but it is definitely not real. More so because the creators came out and said so.
Well, friends, we reached the end of another video. As you can see, some of these UFO and alien videos were truly fascinating and paranormal, while others were clearly not. But that's just the nature of this industry. We're supposed to be able to sit down and think to ourselves, is this real or is this some sort of trickery? Ultimately, I'll let you decide for yourself. I have my own opinions, of course, but I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just here to be able to present things and say, well, this is what it could be. Anyways, friends, I hope to see you again for another episode of Espooky. I've been your host. Until next time, take care. Bye.